Step off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio station KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, TeeLife, Podchaser, Spreaker, Rumble, I think I said that already, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone and spread more hope and happiness. That's my mission in life. Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. It was actually 8 million, and I'm happy to say that we already exceeded that mark in 2018 or 19. I was on tour with my number one best-selling book, 8 Ways to Happiness, in both China and the Philippines. And so by being on 2 giant broadcasts there, one with Szechuan TV on a program that was watched by, I believe, 32 million. So you get a percentage of that, as well as the number one show on ABS-CBN, which was the number one TV station in the Philippines. I was interviewed by the Philippine Oprah, as they call her. She was, I'm waiting for my co-host. She was the reporter and the host of a really well-known show as well. So between the two of them, we actually we hit that 8 million mark. And so now we are at happy 88 million, and we're probably about halfway there. I don't know if we'll hit 88 million by the time I am on the other side, but it's something definitely to work towards. And I'm so glad that you are here right now. I see we do have people. Let's see. We have someone already commenting on today's topic, which is, I would rather not be a star. Thanks for tuning in, David, Joshua, Zachariah, my co-host, who will be coming on. She's having a little technical difficulty, is, of course, the daughter of Otis Williams, the founder and current and continued performer with the Temptations as they continue to tour. He's 81. He might even be 82 at this point. So she really does know about the business. And she picked the topic today, and that's what we're going to be talking about. Hollyweird, or Hollywood making it in the business, what it takes, and whether you really want to be a star or not, which David is opting out. But it still will be an interesting conversation when she gets here. And she is on her way. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and do breakfast with you. You know that I start every show with taking a bite out of my gratitude sandwich. So what is that? That is a way that we start every day on my show for the last year, I would say, where we, instead of starting with this and looking at all what the producers want you to focus on as far as the headlines, and if it bleeds, it leads, is the sad thing about the news, the shock factor, the and shaking your head and the world is going to hell in a handbasket, all of that. I want to circumvent and balance out the bad news with the good news, which is, what do we like about what's going on in the world? What are we grateful for? And one of my teachers who's on the other side now, Dr. Wayne Dyer, he said 5 gratitudes every morning. Thank you for the finger on that one. That is this finger, not the other one. If you're wondering how you can watch and listen, you can actually tune in right now live, LinkedIn, Facebook, and my Show Central. That is, we're on show podcast number 965 on my YouTube channel. Free subscribe there, and you will get access and an easy way to get alerted every morning. I come on at 8 a.m. All right. I am grateful that I've lasted this long. Oh, I've got hearts now too. Thank you. This is 861 consecutive weeks on the air. And so absolutely am I happy that I am. I'm grateful for that as well. And she's here just in time to do gratitude sandwich.
Good morning.
Good morning, my beautiful co-host, Elan Carter. And we're doing the gratitude sandwich. I'm grateful that that my co-host was able to overcome the technical difficulties and come here on the air on camera. What are you grateful for? I think we're on gratitude number 5.
I'm grateful that I got here this morning because, my internet, I'm technically challenged. But it's not my fault. It's my internet. It's a new internet, but it keeps going out. So I'm here. I'm grateful. I'm here. I'm grateful.
Well, welcome back. Every Friday morning is Tempting Conversations with Elan Carter. And you know her as the daughter of the founder and amazing, still performing, Otis Williams of the Temptations. And she's also had her own experience in the business, which is our topic today. Playmate and dancer, singer, model. Well, not singer, sorry. Dancer.
Singer. Otis may come on here and blast the show. He'll come on here and say, "What the heck?"
I know, right. He's not been the most nice about Elan's vocal cords, but we're not going to go there. But because we just love what he has done.
Remember the gong show? I'll get the gong.
Oh, he's not nice. But anyways, one more gratitude. I am grateful the sun's starting to come out here. I don't know about your area. We've had June gloom for about 2 months. And even though it's not, I'm solar powered, it's still gorgeous to live in California. So I'm not complaining. Right? Yes. One last gratitude.
I'm grateful for life.
In sign language, this is life. Do you know that? In sign language, American Sign Language, this is life. Yes. Like full of life.
Let's make it zen and we can make it cool.
Yes. I think American Sign Language is, there we go. I think American Sign Language is the most beautiful language in the world. But anyways, okay, let's
go ahead.
The bottom of the bun. What do you like about yourself? And this is a very important concept. I believe my belief system is that self-love, self-approval, self-care is the foundation to good mental health. So I want you to have that. So that's why we practice. What do you like about yourself? And I want you to do this before you go to bed tonight, instead of continuing to scroll meaningless stuff that makes you angry and anxious and upset. Instead, I want you to breathe into who you are, at the core of who you are, which is an amazing, one-of-a-kind, wonderful. So I'm going to say that I appreciate my ability to learn and grow and not think I know it all, and love things for the first time.
I love about myself, from an experience we'll talk about on the show, that I'm able to release negativity.
Great one. I appreciate that I have the ability to bring cool people into my life, like Elan.
Oh, thank you. I don't know how cool I am. My sister and my dad say I'm corny, but it's okay. I own my corniness. I love that I'm corny. I'm going to put that in there because I am a little corny. It's okay.
Perfect. I appreciate that I love to have fun. I have my own balance.
I appreciate that I like to dance like yourself. I had a party in my bathroom by myself with my headphones on last night. Danced in the mirror so no one could see me.
Awesome.
I have my own self party.
Better than self-pity. Self-party's better than self-pity. Yes. I appreciate that I have, I put on my life jacket every morning with a silver lining, that no matter what happens, I can find the good in whatever it is.
That's a good one.
Thank you. My last one.
Oh, what do I love about appreciate? I've run out of. I appreciate me. How about that?
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. And that is it for Breakfast with Dr. Marissa and
Elan Carter.
Here on Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. Here we go. Ready?
I have an Elan cup. My Elan cup. It says Elan.
That's so nice.
Well, there's a really fancy cafe, which, it's my colors, right? Named Elan. It's spelled just like my name, and it's like a pastry coffee shop, and they're everywhere, and they're beautiful. And, I don't live in England anymore, but I wish that there were my shop. This beautiful lady owns it. It's really popular. So whenever you guys go back to London, you have to go to the Elan Cafe. It's like a really proper, pretty tea shop, but it has it's just decorated impeccable. And it has all these exotic lattes and teas. And anyway, I'm giving her a plug, but it has my name on it. So I got the cup.
That's so awesome. I like the ampersand for the A.
Yes.
I like that. Yeah,
yes,
that's very cool. Right? That is very cool. You got a heart on that one. So cool. Thanks for joining us for breakfast here on NBC News Radio, KCAA, AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming live on my YouTube channel. Just go to Dr. Marissa and hit it, and you will get this show. You can comment on it. Thanks for joining us. All right, and here we go with the topic of the day. Thank you, Tom Briggs, for joining and giving me that compliment. I appreciate it. And we are going to go to the topic. So what are we talking about today? I wrote this little thing to just to get you primed for the topic. So you want to be a star? Do you have what it takes to be king of the hill? King of the hill. No. King of the, I got that wrong. Top of the heap. It's top of the heap. Oh, that's embarrassing. Well,
you're
perfect.
Go with the song. Just go with it.
Yeah, right. Okay, I just corrected on the YouTube. How do you know when you've given it your all and it's time to exit stage right? Where do you start if you'd like to? This is the topic for Elan's choice today, and she's the perfect person to be speaking about this. She is the daughter of the legendary Temptations, Otis Williams. Not only has she grown up in that world, she now continues to take her experience being a model, entertainer, playmate, to help put her son, and she's done an amazing job. If you've watched her social on Instagram, I'm just like amazed that I call him I'm going to call him my honorary godson, because I keep saying my favorite musician. That's just not enough.
He's godson.
My honorary godson. He is just kicking man. He was on the New York Times Square, that giant, whatever that thing Tron is called. He's got a character on South Park. I mean, you're obviously doing a kick job managing Trace Austin.
Did a movie this week. That was really fun. We went out on the farm. I got to play while he was filming. I love animals. I love animals. So I, saw some donkeys and played with them. And I have it on video. I had the goats and the donkeys, and there was chickens, and played with some frogs. I mean, it was way out in the country. And then there was like I love oranges, and I love the little cuties, and they had a grove, and the guy who had, it was his property. He's like, look, we sent all the stuff out, but it would help if you would pick some of the fruit. I go, seriously? So I had the lady on the set had a garbage bag. They had to tell me, get out the frame. We see you picking oranges while they're filming. I was picking oranges.
What movie was this?
Well, I can't say yet.
Oh,
I can't. But it's going to be, I mean, I can, but I don't know if I'll get in trouble. So I can't say. But it's going to be good. There's some named people in there. And, he has a small role, but, just the fact that he got to be in a movie with some pretty big names. So, and he did a great job. I was very proud of him because they even came back and said, wow, he caught on really quick. There's a lot of technical stuff they had to do. And the director said, you know what? It was the technical stuff that you cannot, that'll be part of our conversation, that you cannot learn in acting class. And he came and said to me, he was right on cue. He picked up immediately. And there were some very seasoned people, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that show, he was one of the directors, and he's been doing this forever. And they were like, he did a great job for, not knowing a lot of technical stuff on the set. Because, he's done some acting stuff, but not on that level, right? So I was really proud of him. But, there's so many different ways. And this is what I wanted to talk about, the industry of getting in the business, because there's so many disappointments when you come, especially to California, because this is the land of where opportunities are if you want to be in the film industry. And there's a lot of pros and cons. There's a lot of disappointments, but there are also other areas. Like, I've had negative comments about me being in the business because I was big in the business in the 90s and early 2000s, and I'm, a more mature woman, but it doesn't mean that I know the business backwards. I know how to do it because I grew up in it. So I'm not going to delve into something that I'm not familiar with at a certain age and start all over. Not that I can't, because I've done other stuff, but there's other things you can do to stay in the industry, and you don't give up. I don't care, because I know people who will make it in their 50s and 60s. You'll get a job. You might play someone's grandmother, but if it's your dream, you keep going. And, you just have to understand, like, some people need acting classes. Some people don't. Some people just take off. My godson, my honorary godson, was in the Jeffrey Dahmer movie. He got it. He signs. He's deaf. And he was on a reality show on Netflix called Deaf U about the university. Well, they told him to audition, and he got the number one. Actually, he did the number one show, which was the 6th episode. He did phenomenal. So you do have those situations where you just get discovered. I want everyone to be realistic. That is rare. I told his mother, I was like, you have no idea what a blessing and how easy that was for you, because now he's up for other stuff. He just did an episode on The Rookie from working with the actors, but it's rare that happens. So there's a lot of footwork to get there. My best advice I can give to you is don't stop. But while you're on that journey, you have to do things to supplement your income. You can't just sit there and go, okay, I'm going to rely on being an actor. And even when you're in between sets and jobs and all that, you still got to keep having that side hustle, But, if there's any technical stuff that anyone wants to call and ask, how do I get in? When I was actually starting to go back to school, right? And my career started slowing down a little bit, I created a company called Little Star Shuttle, and it was for child actors. And they're basically a Wrangler service. So what we did was my mother and I hired some models who needed some income to be guardians on the set. You got to screen everyone, but they're the guardians for kids' parents who work and they can't afford to take them to auditions, right? A lot of people can't do it. It's a little tricky now because gasoline prices are high, but you charge. It was a great supplement income, and those kids that I have are now adults and like really well known and are working. I'm like their mom right now, right? Because I had that relationship with them, because there were some kids that work consistently. But needless to say, I stayed in the business, but I also did something else, right? And that's all I'm saying. Always do what you can. But, things have changed, so it's a different game. As far as getting an agent's different. Getting your pictures together is different. You don't have to go get headshots and get hard copies and do paper copies anymore. That changes the game. That saves you money. You could do acting classes on YouTube. There's so many opportunities that we didn't have. We had to do the footwork, right? So it just depends on what business you get. I mean, what area you get into, and just have a realistic view of what your limits and what you're capable of and what your strengths are.
Great advice. I actually, you stemmed the memory. I modeled for 8 years. You modeled for many, many more than that. But I do remember having to get shots, putting, you remember Z cards or Z cards? You know?
Z cards. I had a whole bunch of
Oh, I should have brought mine. I think I'm going to go find it. I know.
I have a lot of Z cards. I'll run off and get it. You want me to come back?
Yeah. Maybe I'll do that too. We'll take turns running and getting it. But okay, go get it. So we're talking about she's going to go get her Z card. I'm going to get mine in a second. Z. I say Z because I was born in Canada. We don't say Z, we say Z. But putting that together is a you know, it's an investment. This entertainment business is a business. And so you can't expect to be discovered. As Elan was saying, you absolutely need to invest in yourself, and pictures. Just really be careful, because there's a lot of people hustling, especially in Hollywood, Hollyweird, as I say, you know, trying to put things together, and they rip people off because people come to Hollywood thinking, you know, this is it, they're going to be discovered. But you are very lucky that you don't have to mail out what we used to mail out, 1,000 Z cards to all the agencies. You know, finding an agent to represent you, that's a whole big effort. You know, getting those pictures continually updated, and it's not an easy thing. And then, as Elan was saying, there's so many different categories. You've got print modeling, you've got commercial modeling, you've got print acting, you've got, oh no, not print, you've got commercial acting, film acting, TV acting, you've got voiceover, right? You have all different categories of what you can get into. But Elan, did you know that I also had a children's agency? Did you know that I had it up? I did.
They keep discovering stuff every day about ourselves. I have the kids' cards too. And there's an editorial modeling, which my editorial is like the magazine modeling. And I wanted to be an editorial model. It's like Vogue, Star, but I'm very, okay, go ahead. I'm very commercial looking. So I was the catalog queen. Looking back, the catalog models made a lot of money, which really would be like a blue collar model. You know, I would do the Spiegel and the Eddie Bowers and all those like magazines, you know, the catalogs you get for like the stores, Macy's, that come to your house. You know, I got to travel a lot. That was the best thing. But basically, I did a lot of commercial type of lifestyle, which that's how I would put it. I was more of a lifestyle model. And I appreciate it now because I made more money, because the models that were on the cover of the magazines, you got the notoriety, but you only made $200. And no one believes that. The cover of Bazaar is like $200. So I'm going to show you a couple of my cards. I even have the kids' cards when they were young. Now, this is Elan young, so don't I don't want to hear any back talk. It was young hot Elan. I got a couple of them. So this was right after I had Trace. Can you guys see this? Oh my gosh. Right there.
Wow, look at that hotness.
And then you have pictures in, okay, there's my name out there. And then you have pictures in the back. And that was my one card. Then I had this one. This is a different headshot. This is one was after I had London, and the other one's after I had Trace. So this one's after I had London. I had Trace first.
Wow.
So
gorgeous.
I still try to keep it together after babies. This was after the kids, after London. I actually have London on my card. Can you see Dr. Marissa? Look at London as a baby.
Beautiful.
You can't see her.
I can see her.
So that was right after I had London.
She's adorable.
This is her when she, so you can get your kids. The kids is still, they're still the age where there were still Z cards. This is London as a little girl, and she looks just like me.
Oh my gosh, she's so adorable.
right there as a little girl. This is one of my favorite cards. Now I have one of Trace's. You guys are going to laugh because now Trace is a big stud kid, right?
This is
Trace.
Wow.
Ooh,
how
look at you.
cute.
I love the black and white. And this is the little guy now who's now look at me. Let me see that again. God. That's Trace now. He was trying to be cool then.
So
oh
cool.
My God. I love the hairstyles. I love the haircut. You always had the sharpest hair. Yes.
This is international top. When I was with international top models, and then you have your vitals, right? You have to show them the vitals.
Yep. Yeah, mine's on the bottom, right here. They had them right on the.
Yeah. So are they still using? Are they still using Z cards? Z cards? Okay.
Well, you really don't have to use Z cards. What they're doing now is, you have LA Casting, you have talent networks. So there's a whole bunch of different online things that you can just casting, audition something. I have to go through it because I'm on all of them. And look at you. I didn't even bring my book out. That's beautiful. I didn't bring my portfolio out.
Well, your book is bigger than mine. See, I only have one. But this was.
I pulled those out of my book. He's like, "What are you doing?" Sure. I was like, "Getting my." Because what are you guys talking about? I go, "Watch my film." No. So now you put your pictures on, right? And you put all your pictures on. It's digital. And now that we do mostly online casting, and you can tape it and send it in, that's a beautiful shot.
This is on when I did runway modeling.
That's amazing. That wild?
So amazing. Okay, go ahead.
So you don't have to do Z cards anymore because you just take your pictures and then you just upload them, which is so much easier because we had to get it printed. Then after we got it printed, we had to go get the cards done, which was really expensive. Unfortunately, all those printing places, I'm sure, are out of business because they're not making any money because all the agencies were contracted, right? Oh, someone brought my portfolios. He actually brought the portfolios. One is pretty old.
I did a lot of bridal shows.
You did?
On runway, yeah. You can see, this is the only time I was a happy bride. I'm just kidding.
Oh, don't say that. So this is one of my, I have so many things.
Wow.
That's young. I was a hottie at some.
No, you're still a hottie. You're still a hottie.
And then I'm the mommy hot. And then I have some of the other stuff. I have a few magazine covers. I have which book that I have.
This one's not blown up, but this is what my body used to look like.
Oh yeah, I told the kids it's just over. It's just wrong. This is one of the calendars that I did.
Oh, okay. That's so beautiful.
Once you have kids, I swear to God.
We're doing show and tell here.
Look what my body used to look like before children. I show them this all the time. I go, see what you did. It's all wrong. It used to look like, right? What happened to that body? What is gone?
Right. So this is also a calendar. Can you see?
Oh, I love the hair. You had long hair. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
No,
yeah, this was a university calendar. Yeah, I had these long strands. My mother used to always threaten to cut them off. They put me
on ethnic magazine.
Black men?
Yes. But I actually there was another Sports Illustrated magazine, like sports. It was the same as Sports Illustrated. I did that copy. I did not the Sports Illustrated, but the second version of it was like the off version of Sports Illustrated. But I was in there. I did do that one.
Well, you're one of the.
There's a last bit of stuff that I did.
Is that the Playboy? Is that the Playboy picture? No.
No, I don't have any of my Playboy pictures in my modeling stuff. I don't do any of that. The agencies, that's a no-no for them. I don't put any of that stuff. People don't like that. I didn't do Playboy until way later, and they were just kind of like, why are you doing that? But anyway, it worked out. It was fine. I did a lot of music videos. I've been in so many of them. Actually, somebody asked me last night, and then I told the girl I forgot, then remembered I was in Tupac videos. I did 2 of Tupac videos. Smith, Bobby Brown. I did Richard Marx, LA Guns. Did a lot of rock videos, believe it or not.
See, I actually used modeling as a side hustle for my college.
See, that's wonderful.
Modeling. Yeah.
At least you weren't on the pole. You know, that's the excuse the girls go on the pole to pay for college.
Hey, whatever it takes, right?
No, but see, okay, so we're not gonna talk about ourselves anymore. I just want to say, like, for people who get into business, they're like, you guys, okay, you're showing your old pictures. For people who want to get into business, there are steps you can do. So now, because the game is much different than what we were, doing it, you can submit your pictures online. Look at that.
You like it?
That's beautiful. Yes, it's pretty. That's beautiful dress. You can submit your pictures online. So you don't have to go into the agencies. The unfortunate thing about that part that I have an issue with is a lot of times, and I'm not talking about acting, that's different than modeling, because they don't base it on how you look. A lot of people look different in person than they do in their pictures. Some people don't photograph that well. Some people photograph better than they look in person. And the one thing is, you get an opportunity for them to see you, to see your whole physique. Do you have what it takes? A lot of times people walk to the agency and, they don't have what it takes to be on camera, even though they're gorgeous, right? Or you may just have something vibe about you that's different and funky. That's the magazine, the paper is going to love. So that's the only downside, because they don't even consider looking at you if you don't send your pictures in first. We had an open call. We could just walk into the agency on a Thursday and you go to Wilhelmina, you go to Elite, you go to LA Models, and that was the opportunity again. So it has changed, but it also is more convenient, right? The blessing of the acting is if you are on an audition, and I'm experiencing that with the kids, and you get a little nervous because a lot of times you don't book jobs because you don't feel comfortable. You know how you can read the energy of someone's room? A lot of casting people, they see people all day, so they could care less, right? So when they walk in, they're just preoccupied or just give you a dry reading. It's really hard. I mean, I know for me, trying to book stuff was difficult because I would go into a room and I would get really nervous. The best form of learning to act is being on the set and experiencing it. Stuff you get in acting classes, you're never going to get being on a set because you're not standing in a room pretending like you're in the scene. You got to learn how to walk from one side of the room to the other, pick up stuff, the objects, interact so you look natural. Now you can record it over and over and over until you get it right and submit it. And that's the beauty of now auditioning. I think it's a great thing because I think it's kind of not fair that sometimes you just are off, right? And if you forget your lines, you could go over it again. So that I do like. I'm trying to think of some other things.
I just want to show you this. I just found this. I haven't seen this in so long. This is the Vogue model sheet.
Oh, wow.
So these were all the models that were. Yeah, so I don't even, there I am. What? Other side.
Yeah.
Right there.
I remember those.
You remember that?
Go. Yes, yes.
I'm feeling very nostalgic.
Yeah, because it takes you back to those days. But it is different. If in acting, if one agency tells you no, don't stop because you want to be with the A-list agency. Sometimes being with a startup is much better because they are thirsty and they want you and they're interested in you because they don't have anyone, right? And so they'll send you out. As long as you get the same auditions as the big ones, it actually benefits you. I started off with a smaller agency because they were more of a runway agency. And then I got with Wilhelmina, and then I was with LA Models. But once I started off with the smaller agency, got a little experience, people were seeing me on auditions, right? Because you see the casting people. It was easier for me to get a bigger agent because the photographers were like, oh, okay, why don't you go to this agency? They started recommending me. And I actually got walked because I did try to go to the big agency first. I wasn't that tall at first. They walked me in. So, don't stop because one says no. Same thing with the acting. You got to start with the smaller theatrical agents, because the agents now are becoming superstars in their own mind. They only want an A-list roster to make themselves look good. They don't take new actors who are just starting and go, hey, I like your look, I'm going to help, send you out auditions and make you start. They don't do that anymore. There is no investing in promoting you. Those days are over. I mean, we had that. They don't do that anymore. They already want you established because it makes their job easier, which I don't agree with. If you decide to be an agent, I think that's your job. We are blessed to get what a phenomenal agent this time, who is very old school. I mean, I approached him and I was just quite shocked at the right place at the right time that he kind of took my lead and took a chance. And he just took a chance on a whim because he didn't even know. I didn't have anything to show him about Trace. I just said, I'm his mother and he's really good. And you just need to give us a chance and see how it works. And he tells the story because when I met him, he said, well, you can come see me tomorrow. I said, this is when it was raining months ago. I go, it's going to rain tomorrow. And I don't want to come out in the rain. And it's going to rain like a bad storm. And I think I should come today. And he goes, okay. And he tells everyone, he thinks that's the funniest story. He goes, I would have met her if it didn't rain.
That is so funny. Now, I'm going to put the moose on the table about something because I'm sure that some people are wondering. And Jamie Lee Curtis put that moose on the table in one of her interviews at one of the award shows. And she goes, I am a Nepo baby, right? And Nepo, my daughters have told me, is like this new term for people who are in the business because their parents are in the business or someone is like sliding them in. So my question to you is, did the fact that your dad was Otis Williams, even though it was in the music industry, which is vastly different animal than the modeling or acting industry, did that make a difference? Did you introduce yourself as the daughter of Otis Williams? And the same way, I noticed that with Trace, I brag about Trace all the time. He's the grandson. He doesn't fall far from the apple from the tree, blah, 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 blah. But on stage and in introductions, there's no mention that who Trace Austin is. So my big question is, one, were you helped get to where you are because of your dad, and Trace now?
Trace, yes, I have. My father has been a big factor in Trace's success and getting him, like, it exponentially speeded the process up. I didn't use that and didn't realize it, and I wish I would have. It would have benefited me a lot. I think I did quite well at a young age. I was able to take care of myself. I think I would have done better if I utilized that, and I did not. Because it was such a normal thing for me to be around the entertainment business. And it wasn't like that, like it is now with social media and red carpet. That wasn't a thing back then. It wasn't a thing to be a celebrity. And, it's like, oh, that's a celebrity kid, but it was kind of hush, hush, that's such and such. Like, I used to go roller skating. Janet Jackson was there and it was a group of kids. And I'm like, oh, that's Todd Bridges. That's Janet Jackson. That's Kim Fields. Like, we knew, but we didn't really discuss it. So when I started modeling, I never said it, right? One day I have this modeling job and this girl who was new, she was from Russia. And we were way out near my parents' house. And she's like, oh, well, let's leave for lunch. I said, why don't we go to my parents' house for lunch? My parents live right up the street. She's like, okay. So we go over there and she walks in and mind you, she's Russian. So for her, she's like, why are these gold records and platinum records all over the place? What is going on? I go, oh, my dad's a famous singer. You probably won't know who he is because you're from Russia and I'm playing his music. She goes, I very well know who he is. At the time I was with Wilhelmina. She went back and told them, do you know who her father is? They were like, no, she never told us that. They go, yeah, her dad's really famous. I swear, I give thanks to her. Her name's Victoria. She ends up marrying someone well-known. She's the reason why I started like my work quadruple. Because once I said that, they were like, huh, what? What do you mean? You never told us that. And I go, I never thought about it. I just didn't think about it. And then it became a thing. I was Otis's daughter. And then I did Playboy soon after, and then they didn't know. And one day during conversation, we're filming like 6 months into the shoot, because they film you for a long time. They go, what do you mean your dad's one of the Temptations? And then they came to the show when they ended up putting him in the magazine, but they didn't know. So I didn't use it. But I learned from that experience. That's when people asked me about using the name for Trace. I said, oh, that I got this now. All the stuff that I didn't do, I learned. So it's helped me with him. And when people ask me, well, how do you know? And the business is different, then I'm like, because I know what to do and what not to do. I learned a lot of things. And it has helped. That it really does. If you are the a parent, a child of a celebrity, it exponentially makes it a lot easizer. It just does. Yes. And actually, I feel blessed that I'm able to use that for Trace and not to slight anybody else.
Yeah.
Hi, he's back.
He's back from New York. She was wondering where you were last week. Orville Nation is an eyeball here. If you've just tuned in, you're wondering who's in studio. Well, you know it's Friday, and this is Tempting Conversations with Dr. Marissa and my co-host
Elan Carter.
And we're talking about getting into the business, the biz, and the realities of being in the biz. And I just put the moose on the table about nepotism. And I'm glad that you went through that. You didn't use it. The whole using your parents or your, it sounds almost like a negative or bad thing. And I don't look at it that way. I absolutely share the fact that my father's cousin is a very famous architect, I.M. Pei, who was decorated by not just one, but like 3 presidents. And he's responsible for the pyramid in front of the Louvre. My father was a famous microwave technologist. My family is the Pei. There's nothing wrong with being proud of your father being Otis Williams, your son being the grandson of the legendary founder. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not using in the sense of negative. It is, you are taking your experience and sharing who you are. You're unique in and of yourself. And if you're not talented, doesn't matter who your parents are, you have to be talented. You have to work at the craft. You cannot expect to be, I was in high school, I was the lead in all of this, and that automatically makes me, I'm going to be a star. Those kinds of BS belief systems are not going to get you to where you want to go. You have to work for this too, right?
Well, Otis Williams is very old school. Like with Trace, he's like, I get frustrated because he'll say, well, he'll make it. You just got to stick to it. Yeah, it's just you put in the hard work. But he actually is getting better and better. And I have been grooming him. And even though I was like, no, you could just put him there, just put him. He's like, no, you have to do this. And he's been right. He's right about it because Trace has grown so much as an artist. He's gotten so much better because my father's told me he's got to put in the hard work. He's got to become better than me. You know what I mean? He tells me that. Trace is a great writer. Trace has taken piano lessons. He's taken drum lessons. And I say to him, you have to make yourself more well-rounded. But my father's telling him the direction to go in for longevity. People might think because he's older, he doesn't know better, but he does because he's still on the road right now because he knows the longevity part of it. He knows the business side of it. It's business. It's great to have your craft. It's great to be artsy and cool. And I'm an artist. I'm myself, but you have to understand, you have to be marketable. You got to also remember it's a business first. Then you go navigate how you are going to make yourself unique enough to fit in to the realm of the masses, because you have to appeal to the masses. They don't care how you can have the most talented person, but if you're not appealing to the masses, they're not making money. If they're not making money off of you, they're not interested. Remember that you are a commodity.
When
you understand that, then you'll understand what you need to do to make yourself someone who is interested. Because if you come in, I remember just, I had a bad day, or I got in an accident, or I was sick that day. They don't care because they'll replace you. Even if you're having a bad day, even if you got bad cramps, don't tell them. Because then if you say, well, I was so sick, they're like, okay, well, I don't want to have that person, because their people are insensitive. And another thing, this is the best advice I can give. I help so many people come up. And you know what? When they got to a certain, and I can name a few people that became really famous. Bye, thank you. That's it. You can forget it. Help yourself first. Be selfish. Because if you don't, and I tell Trace this all the time because he's experienced it a little bit, and I'm like, we have to cut that person off. You have to get there first. Then if you want to bring someone, and people are going to criticize you, oh, you should help me get an agent. Oh, you should help me do this. No, I got to get myself there first. That's the best advice I can give you. And only because of my experiences that I had, people will not return the favor and they'll surpass you. And not that that's a bad thing, but you're still kind of in the background going, well, hey, I gave you a helping hand, help me. Mm-hmm. They won't do it.
Yeah, there's no tit for tat, for sure.
And that's not being mean. That's not being negative. That's just like, help yourself. It says that in the Bible. And, you know, I mean, whether you read.
Oh, we're going to the Bible.
I know I'm not religious, but it does say that.
For sure. For sure. And if you've just tuned in, you are tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show every weekday morning on KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and my YouTube channel, where if you free subscribe, you'll get an alert every weekday morning to tune into a show about hope and happiness. And the topic today on our special series, Tempting Conversations with Dr. Marissa and co-host
Elan Carter
is getting into the business, and we're like in the last final stretch because that's what we do. We talk and keep it going and keep it lively. And next thing you know, it's almost the end of the show. I just wanted to comment one thing that you were mentioning. Elan's been giving great advice on if you want to get into the business. Good morning, Nikki Ackerman. Thank you for tuning in. As well, we have Usman Khan from Facebook. I'm just so glad we have so many people here. David says he doesn't want to be a star, and I want you to comment on that. But before you do, you mentioned no matter how bad of a day you're having, no matter if you had an accident, if you had, the bad hair day, whatever it is, you don't share it. And I actually call that the zit factor. So have you ever had a zit on your face and you think it looks like this? It's actually only this. But if you talk about it and you point it out, that person has no choice but to look at that zit. They would have never noticed it if you kept your mouth shut. So
yes, that's right. I like that analogy. That's a good way of doing it. Yes, you're right. Don't say it. Just say you can apologize and say, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to inconvenience anybody, thank you for having me. I'm sorry I'm late. And leave it at that. They don't give a rat's why you're late, what happened before you left your house. They don't care. But what I wanted to make a comment to, you don't want to be a star. That's fine. A lot of people want to be in the business and be a camera person. They want to be a producer. They want to be a director. I don't have to be in front of the camera anymore. I'm happy to do Trace's stuff. I'm a writer. I would love to produce. That's what I would like to do. I want to be in the business because, I like doing what I do, but I don't have to be the center of attention because it's not about me anymore. I mean, I think it's about making room for the younger generation anyway. So you just can go in what the whole thing about today is you can go in different fields of the industry and still be in the industry, but it is cutthroat and people aren't nice. You got to have tough skin. If you're not tough, it's not for you.
Yeah. I mean, just being the social media star, so to speak, and people getting, attention because of what they're doing on YouTube or all of that. I want to just bring this analogy forward because I think one of the things around David's comment is our society is so warped around who is important. And if you're not a star, you're not important. If you're not in front of the camera, you're not. We've almost extended this BS belief system that unless you are noticed, unless you are recognizable, you're not important. And that is BS. That is a belief system that makes you feel you take that on unnecessarily. And I love this thing that I learned from my big brother, Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, where he said, when there's flowers everywhere, and every time a flower blooms, it gives off energy. It's life-giving energy. And that flower can be in the top of the mountain where nobody sees it, or at the bottom where everybody sees it. Every single person is just as important wherever they bloom. The most important thing, though, is that you bloom. To go through life hiding your light under a bushel, not trying to use the gifts, talents, and abilities that you came into life with to hone and to grow and expand, that is a crying shame. So please know that we're not saying the biz is more important than any other biz, but we're talking about if this is where you want to go, these are the things that you want to do.
Yes. Yes.
So,
I mean, that's there's so many, like, well, you summed it up. Drop the mic.
Thank you.
If you want to be in business, you can be in business. Just find in the area that you want to be in and believe in yourself. And you have to just have self-confidence, because if no one's going to believe in you, you got to believe in yourself, because it's a tough industry. It really is.
Yeah. I'm reminded, I got to interview Larry Namer, who was the co-founder of E Entertainment, and Larry Kazas, and I'm butchering his last name. They're both Larrys. And he brought you the Terminator, like a bunch of huge movies. And I interviewed them and said, do you have a critical voice in your head that tells you, like you're not good enough or whatever? And how do you get rid of that voice? And I'll tell you, it's interesting. They both said, the voice actually is a good motivator, because the more crazy or the more resistance I get with, what are you, crazy? That's stupid. Those ideas actually become the giant ideas and the giant successes that they are. So it gave me a very different way to look at the business. Is really, you're taking a chance. You're putting yourself out there. You can't give up, as Elan was saying. You have to have a thicker skin. You cannot take people's criticism or hatred to heart. You have to believe in yourself, because if there is no enemy within, nothing outside can hurt you. That's my favorite African-American saying. If there is no enemy within, no one outside can hurt you. So if you want in the biz, you better know how great you are. Last word. And that was the last word. Elan, thank you so much. You've given everybody a lot to think about and a lot of great advice. I love you. I'm just so proud of what you're doing with Trace. And I love Trace, and I love my family. Thank you for tuning in. You can go to my playlist on YouTube for all of my past interviews with Elan. We had Elan's mom on with the Snoop sisters. We had all the Otis Williams lineage stories on this particular playlist, Tempting Conversations with Dr. Marissa and
Elan Carter.
What's your final wish or blessing to those who want to get in the industry?
My blessing is to set goals. Write your wish list down, right? And put it to the side and come back within 6 months. Give yourself a timeline and what you like to accomplish, and do something every day to achieve that goal, and see where you are in 6 months, and then rewrite that list. Because if you manifest it, if you put it out there and just focus on it.
Beautiful. Okay. And that's it for today. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. This is Dr. Marissa reporting live from her living room. Now go and have the best weekend ever. We'll see you Monday.